I had invited Tanya Pinkins in. She's my co-host every Wednesday on the show, right? She comes in and she's traveling. She's in Africa, the Sudan, Cairo, and she couldn't make it today. But one of the first things that she said was the best kiss, and I'm sure you've heard this before, Joe Morton.
I have heard this story, yes.
Came from your lips. Might have been your lips and your tongue. I don't know. I didn't get into the details. But do you remember what you did to this woman? Because to this day, she's still swooning over what you did.
Well, Tanya said that she tells the story this way. She says that we've worked together several times. We've done readings together. And she says that every time we worked together, I always acted like I'd never met her before. She said then when she came onto the show to do Scandal, there was a moment we were supposed to kiss. And she said, I kissed her like, she said she felt like maybe she needed it or whatever it was, but clearly it did the job because she keeps telling the story.
Do you remember the kiss though, Joe Morton? Do you
I do
remember?
Very well.
Okay. So did she rock your world too? Because I need to take this information back. I'm you're doing a little reconnaissance right now.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, Tanya Pinkins can rock my world in all kinds of ways. So yes.
Okay. All right. But that's not why you're here. Okay. And I'm actually excited because, we have been inundated with, white men in jackets talking to people, getting all of the goodness out of them. And now you're going to be sitting in that seat. And I think of Charlie Rose. I think of Dick Cavett. I think of, all of these kind of sit down, inside the actor studios shows. And now you're going to be sitting and asking these probing questions. How did this come about? And it's called Inside the Black Box. It's on Crackle.
6 years ago, Tracy Moore, whose idea this is, gave me a call and said she was doing a sizzle reel, and she kind of explained what this was going to be. So Inside the Black Box is essentially inside the actor's studio, but from a Black point of view. She said we'd be doing improvs and we'd be doing theater games, but we would be talking about the experience of actors like me, veteran actors, will come on and talk about what their experience has been as people of color within this industry, amongst a group of younger, aspiring young actors. I thought this was a great idea. So I did the sizzle reel. It worked out really well. And then 6 years went by. And then in the interim, I basically called back and said, so how are things going? What's going on with the show? And she said they were looking for an actor, a celebrity who had his own or her own production company. I said, well, if I'll do. And so we decided we would work together, and it's been a joy ever since.
Last thing I saw you in was Zack
Snyder's Justice League.
Yes, and you played Cyborg's dad.
Right.
It was amazing to watch, that story actually develop. But out of it, Ray Fisher, of course, there was all that drama. And but I'm glad that we got to see the relationship with his mom, with you.
Right.
That character has so much to give. And now I see it, Did you know all that was going to get cut out? And were you happy that we got to see what we didn't get to see in the first?
Well, I didn't know what, you never know what the edit's going to be after you do something that big. And obviously it was curtailed by the fact that Zach had a personal problem so he had to leave the show. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, my thing about that movie always was, the interesting thing about the Cyborg is all the other superheroes, whether it's the Flash or Batman and Superman, they all have aliases. Bruce Wayne, Clark Kent, they all have some place they can hide. The Cyborg, like being Black in this world, has no place to hide. So I thought that was a really, really interesting analogy in terms of putting a Black actor in that role.
Mm. And then, of course, Papa Pope, that's what we call him, one of the most complex, badass, secret super spy, take no prisoners and make prisoners. I mean, you and your wife, you had her literally in prison. Amazing. How fulfilling was that role as an actor with the range that you have?
It was incredible. I mean, it was like being able to do theater and film all at the same time. And that was because the way that show was arranged, right? There was Twitter going on live during the broadcast. So the audience could actually interact with the actors who were playing those characters while the show was on. So it incredible. I mean, and also to be given a role where they're going to write you a 2-page or 2.5-page monologue per episode was pretty exciting. I'd never seen anything like that before, much less be involved in anything like that.
All right. So the Black Box on Crackle, you sit down and you talk to some very interesting people, like
We talked
Shonda Rhimes.
with Felicia Rashad, Raven Simone, Norman Lewis, Tanya Pinkins, Sally Richardson Whitfield. It's a wide range of Kim Williams, who is the VP of casting at Disney. It's a wide range of people who come on the show and basically talk about their experiences and give off a lot of gems to these young actors in terms of pathways that they can follow as they make their journey in this industry.
Now, you've been doing this for a while. Did you learn anything during this? Because every time I teach, I learn.
Absolutely.
And every day on the radio, I'm talking to different people, and I'm just in school. What did you learn?
I mean, you learn something all the time, and in various ways. With Felicia Rashad, for instance, I did not know that Felicia's mother actually had been nominated for a Pulitzer Prize for poetry, which is pretty astounding. Sally Richardson sort of was interesting. Sally and I worked together as actors. She is now, a mainstay kind of director. And one of the students asked her if she, as a director, could talk to herself as an actress, what would she say? And she said that she feels that as a director, she's very courageous, that she, there are kind of no holds barred. And she thought if she could talk to herself back then when she was an actress, she would have told herself to be more courageous. So things like that come out all the time. Marquand Smith, who came on the show, he's the creator of Godfather of Harlem. He said some wonderful things. He talked about perseverance and patience and how it took him 18 years to get that show up and running, and how he even had to audition for the role that he plays on that show. So there was always something new to be learned.
So inside the Black Box, Crackle, which there's so many streaming platforms now, we're probably going to get dizzy, but we need to get them all because we can't miss this. And I'm looking forward to it. It seems like you're very proud of this work.
It's wonderful. I mean, I think it's really inspiring for anyone who you don't even have to be in this business to sort of understand what's going on. Just to watch a group of people who are striving to be better at what they do, listening to stories of people who've gone through all kinds of experiences and overcome all kinds of hurdles and achieved amazing goals. It's really a very inspiring place to be. As a matter of fact, the students who are on the show were so inspired by the show that they actually came up with the theme that's on the show. One day at the end of a shoot, they just started singing this chant inside the Black Box. I was so taken with it that I then took them into the studio and we re-recorded it all and sort of redid the event, as it were. And it's now the theme for the show, Inside the Black Box.